We are here with Councillor Pedor Ladner, and thank you for giving us some of your time. We have talked to Pivot lawyer David Ivy, and he's complaining that housing is not as good as it could be because originally that project was dedicating 30% or one-third of the units to low income and one-third to middle income and one-third to market. And then in your term of councillor, it has changed from 80 to market and 20 to low income. So is he right in complaining about it?
We would all like to see more. It's not actually 20, it's 32% is a combination of social housing and modest market rental. The problem is how are we going to pay for it, and where does the money come from, and what else could it be used for? If we had gone ahead with the one-third program, we would have been about if there had been if the city had to come up with the money rather than VANOC or so on for the next phase of modest market housing, we would have been having to spend an additional $113 million.
For how many units?
For, I don't know the exact number of units, but the point is just that money would have to come from somewhere else. And what we chose to do was to preserve our property endowment fund in a position where it could be paid back for its initial investment in Southeast Falls Creek and have enough money, therefore, to be doing other social housing in other places. We can only provide land in Southeast Falls Creek, and if we were to put aside 2/3 of the projects of the land for housing that may never materialize if the senior levels of government don't show up, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
He mentioned also a fellow called Kandu Bal that apparently is hired by the city to lobby the provincial government to achieve some social housing. Where is that lobbying getting us to?
He has it's not just lobbying the provincial government. He has been asked to try to figure out a way that we can harness private money to put it to work to provide social housing. Some other cities have a housing foundation that people can donate to, sort of like a privately funded endowment fund.
Private partnership. Private-public partnership.
Well, it's more than that. It's just people putting money, people who care about these things and want to put some money in to make it happen. Mm-hmm. What financial mechanism can we provide that would enable that to happen? And that's what he's coming up with, and he's reporting back to us within a month, sometime very soon.
Okay, so we don't have any results right now,
no.
and that side. Again, this Pivot group, they have some issues with the city hall, and apparently they're banned from speaking with city staff. They have their side of the story. I wanted to hear if you know what's the motive and the city hall to ban Pivot lawyers from talking to staff in city hall.
I'm not sure exactly where you're talking about. I think they're on some committee, and they were not supposed to be contributing to that committee. But when somebody is suing you, typically your lawyers talk because you're in court together. So you don't have private conversations outside of that.
Yeah, they claim that they are the only firm that is banned from talking to staff, whereas other firms that are also suing the city hall, they are not. So they feel discriminated against.
I don't know the details on it. I don't know if anybody else has got as many lawsuits as they do against us.
Okay. All right. Transit is another issue that is in one of our questions in now polling.ca. And I understand you're one of the directors now of TransLink.
I am.
What the majority of people in our survey are asking is for the bus fares to be abolished and transfer that cost to taxpayers business taxes, fuel taxes. What do you think about that idea?
It would be great. Every time my daughter comes to visit me from Victoria, she complains about the bus fares, and I understand that the bus fares are a problem for a lot of people. What we have to deal with, though, is that we raise 56% of our revenue in TransLink from fares.
Last year it was 33%. Is it changed?
Well, the number I got was earned revenue. Now, maybe that's not all from fares. Maybe that's fares plus revenue, advertising on the buses and all that stuff. Perhaps I'm wrong on that number, but whatever it is, it's a significant amount of money that we raise at TransLink from fares. If we took the money away, we'd have to find it somewhere else. And if somebody else came up with some funding, by all means, we could look at freezing fares or reducing fares or eliminating fares, but we can't find that money. Nobody's shown up with it, and we've repeatedly asked for it, but it's not there. So,
you've heard of the free buses in downtown Seattle and downtown Calgary. How do they do it?
Somebody subsidizes them.
I presume businesses, local businesses from downtown.
Well, you got to be careful about the businesses. We have the way the taxes are structured in Vancouver. The businesses pay about 6 times as much for taxes on the same amount of space as the residents do. And most of our money comes from a property tax, which is a regressive tax. It doesn't matter what your income is, you pay based on your asset, which you maybe can't control or whatever. So to load it onto businesses, go talk to the Deanna Giesheimer from the Artworks Gallery, whose taxes she thinks are going to go up $43,000 this year. She's going out of business if that happens. And tell her you think that she should be paying more taxes.
All right. In Seattle, they're doing it somehow. And now that you're in the TransLink board, maybe you can find out how do other cities do. We also have some program with the universities where students pay through their fees somehow, and universities subsidize part of it. And in a way, they're abolishing the bus fare. So is it possible to find some other way than the ballot box, the fare box?
Well, the UPass is in the fare box. It's just paid in a different way. You pay in a lump sum, and you're forced to pay. And the payment for the bus riders is subsidized by people who never use the bus, who are driving their cars, but still go to UBC and pay the UPass fare.
Is it good for the environment?
Well, it's great for the environment. It's been great for increasing the use of public transit, and we're going to expand that. That's one of the goals for the next year for TransLink, is to nail down those agreements with the other colleges and other institutions so that we can expand the UPass.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think that it would be a good idea to look into having free fare buses at this moment?
I know TransLink has looked at free fare buses, but in Seattle they're only free in a certain zone, and there are lots of issues around that. And to me, it's not a priority because it's nice, but we can't afford it, and we'd have to sell the buses if we had them free. It wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Is there a study where people can go and look at it? You said they have looked into it.
Well, the simplest number to look at is how much fare we raise from the fare box. And let's just say you took that out. Either you cut back public transit or other things that TransLink does, which is mostly public transit, or you find the money somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So we've chosen, we were not going to cut back public transit, so we're looking for the money somewhere else. The
total amount of money that TransLink receives from fares is $250 million out of $750 million total budget. So it's about 30%. So if 5 cents extra in each purchase of gasoline could create $125 million, that's almost half of the amount.